tour was a success, my dear.
We formed 8 new Louise Carlyle Youthful Forever clubs. People are finally beginning to wake up to nutrition.
Thanks to your tireless efforts.
Have you followed my instructions since I left?
To the letter. Fruit press has been installed in the basement, the carpets have been hygienized, the herb garden has been seeded.
But you haven't been drinking your carrot juice. Don't deny it, Roger. I can see dandruff all over your collar. I don't suppose you've been taking your yeast either. Stick out your tongue.
Yes, I have.
What about your movements?
Quite regular.
We'll see.
Nice to have you home again, Nam.
Hello, Jenny. We'll have a light supper, Jenny. Double carrot juice for Mr. Carlyle. Liver, alfalfa sprout salad with sunflower seeds, and 2 oranges quartered. I want my telephone messages, but first call my agent and tell her I want to speak to her tonight.
Oh, yes, my dear. I wonder if you'd take a look at the fruit press. I don't seem to be able to get it functioning properly. I told Mr. Johnson I'd ask you to have a look at it as soon as you came home, so I could let him know immediately.
All right, I'll have a look. Why is it that nothing ever gets done around this place without my having a look? I'm away from the house 2 weeks, and the whole place is falling apart.
No doubt the members of the Louise Carlyle Youthful Forever clubs were shocked at the sudden and early demise of their founder. But accidents do happen. One could almost say they're inevitable. A dreadful accident is what Roger called it. He explained to the coroner that his wife had apparently forgotten about the renovation of the basement. Why, it was only moments before he had explicitly told her that the cellar steps were not in place. But, as usual, she was paying no attention to him. No doubt she was dying to see the fruit press. I can't help wondering what will happen to Louise Carlyle clubs since her untimely death. They are no longer youthful or even remotely forever. And Roger? Oh, he's inherited the fruit press, the house, fully equipped, with maid, and they're hard to come by these days. I do just hope that Roger will be able to cope with his newfound responsibilities.
Oh, I was wondering where you'd gone, sir. What is it you've got there in the box? Oh, dear me. Madam would never have allowed that in the house.
Well, Madam is no longer with us to look after us. So I'll have 4 strips of bacon, 2 eggs, once over, lightly, a roll, butter, marmalade, and a pot of cocoa.
I'm almost afraid to do it. I have a queer feeling that at any moment Madam's going to scold me. I know she's gone, sir, but...
Jenny, it's only your nerves. Nothing more.
Last night I awoke and thought I saw her standing in my doorway. I had a feeling there was something she wanted to tell me.
Enough of that. Just take a hold of yourself.
I'm sorry, sir. I guess I just haven't recovered from the shock. It all happened so sudden. I keep thinking if only she hadn't gone to the cellar. Whatever made her do it?
Listen, I do not wish to pursue this conversation any further. Prepare my breakfast and bring it to me in the study when it is ready.
Something wrong, Mr. Carlyle. You look like you've seen a ghost.
Where were you just now?
I was over there behind the screen.
So it was you I saw in the window. What are you doing here?
I came in to try out Madame's fur coat.
I don't recall giving you permission.
Well, the Madame did. She said I could have it. Her fur coat, that is.
And when did she relate this bit of information to you?
Just before she had that terrible accident. She said if anything were to happen to her, I was to have her fur coat. Do you think she might have had a premonition?
I don't believe in premonitions. All right, you can have it. I'm sure you'll find good use for it.
And her jewelry. She said I could have her jewelry as well.
All right, take it. And the coat, too, if it'll make you happy.
Oh, it will, sir, I assure you. It fits me rather well, don't you think? Be careful, it's hot. You wouldn't want to burn yourself.
Thank you.
I've always tried to do my best for you, sir.
I'm sure you have.
Seeing as how the Madame's no longer here to look after you, I feel the responsibility is now on my shoulders. And in all fairness, I think I deserve a raise.
How much?
300 a week would be about right.
You can't be serious.
Oh, but I am, sir. I'm a very serious person. I don't say things in jest. I mean, I realize that other maids generally don't do as well, but then you must admit the situation here is sort of special. I mean, very few people are as dependent upon their maid for their well-being as you are.
What if I refuse?
I should hate to leave your service after all these years.
Yes, I'd miss you, of course. But you leave me little choice.
You underestimate my value to you, sir. I think you would find it unbearably difficult without me. If you want my honest opinion, I don't think you'd survive.
I've never known you to be so blunt.
Well, you know how it is, sir. Certain moments bring out the best in people.
Yes, well, I've always believed in giving people what they deserve, but 300 is rather steep. Now, you wouldn't want to force me into an unstable position where I have to behave in a disagreeable manner in order to preserve my well-being. So let us say 200.
$200 will be just fine. You see, I have a high regard for other people's well-being.
Just as long as we understand each other.
I hope you understand that I'm a very careful person. I don't get into accidents.
Well, that means we're two of a kind. We're going to get along really well. What happened?
That wine's been in the cellar for years. It must have fermented. If you ask me, it's a warning from the grave. The madam must know you're not drinking your carrot juice.
What are you up to?
Me? Well, you chose that wine yourself, sir. It was an accident. Accidents do happen, don't they? Only it wasn't an accident that morning, was it? I saw you loosen the light bulb. Also, I overheard you tell the madam to have a look at the fruit press. I thought it was strange knowing the door was locked and the key put away. That is, until I heard her scream.
If you know as much as you think you know, why haven't you gone to the police?
Oh, come now, Mr. Carlyle. I'm sure you can figure that one out.
Sure, I remember that incident. Your wife died right here in the house, didn't she? She's in the cellar. Freakish accident. Just as well I'm not superstitious, or I'd be terrified. First her accident, then mine. Chances of that are 1 in a million.
Why were the police here? What happened to your car?
I had an accident on the road. Barely escaped with my life. Police were kind enough to drive me home.
What sort of accident?
Front wheel came off on the bend on the mountain road.
What are you up to?
Up to?
Nothing.
You look rather gay for a man who just had an accident. You're up to something. I don't know what it is, but I know enough not to trust you.
You overestimate me.
And you underestimate me. Do you think I'm going to sit by like a fool and let you do what you want? I'm not your slave anymore. This is my house as much as yours. Just to be sure you don't forget, I've written a letter and left it with the lawyer Jackson, explaining the madam's accidental death. He has instructions to open it immediately, if anything should happen to me.
What if it's opened by mistake?
It would be a most unfortunate accident, but it's a chance we'll have to take, isn't it?
As you can see, Jenny had the upper hand for the first time in her life, and she relished it. She had Roger cornered. She was convinced that there was no way he could squirm out. Consequently, she let her guard drop to feel free. What Jenny didn't realize was that Roger himself had waited too many years to gain the upper hand to let it slip away now. He had a plan, and if he was careful, he was convinced he would gain the upper hand once and for all. Roger planned a series of accidents in which the victim would be himself. The evidence would pile up until it became irrefutable. The same person who was trying to kill him must have killed his wife. Who else could it be but Jenny? Roger watched Jenny grow fat and frowsy. He found the sight of her distasteful. Yet the more careless she became, the more it pleased him. For he was convinced that by the time he was finished setting her up, even a jury would find her letter to the lawyer but another contrivance. If it came to it, he was quite prepared to pit his word against hers. Though Roger hardly relished a long trial, he had no doubt that the jury would believe him in the end. And the end was now in sight.
I hope you don't mind my moving in here. It's so much nicer than my bedroom. And it makes it easier for me to look after you, which is what you're paying me for, isn't it?
As long as you're satisfied, I'm satisfied. Live and let live. That's my motto.
Is it really? Oh. Be a good dear and get me another cup of tea. Well, go on. What are you waiting for?
Carlisle?
Good evening, officer. I didn't expect to see you at this hour.
Oh, the sergeant tried to phone you. There was no answer.
No, I was out back in the greenhouse. I didn't hear the phone ring. But Jenny should have answered it. Jenny's the maid. I never seem to know where she is these days.
Well, we got back the results of the lab test. The sergeant would like to speak to you about them. He thinks it'd be a better idea if you came down to the station.
Is it important? I mean, can't it wait till tomorrow morning?
I don't think so. You see, you were right. It wasn't potassium nitrate in the jam. It was potassium cyanide. Somebody is trying to poison you, Mr. Carlisle.
I can't believe that. Why would anyone want to do that? They must be mad.
Well, don't worry. We'll catch him, whoever he is, or she is. Would you come along now, please?
All right. I've got some tools I've got to put away. I'll only be a minute.
I know what you're up to.
Up to?
I heard what you said outside. Now I understand. You're trying to frame me. You're trying to make them think that I monkeyed with the car so you had an accident, that I put a match to the drapes, and that I put poison in the jam. That's it, isn't it?
Well, you're the one who understands. What are you asking me for?
Well, you won't get away with it. I'm going to tell them everything. Do you understand? Everything!
Who are you going to tell?
The police!
Well, go ahead. I don't care. Tell him. See what he says. Oh, but before you go, there's something you should know about the chandelier.
No, Jenny, no, stop! Don't go out there! Don't! Jenny.
Roger set a trap, and Jenny unwittingly sprung it on him. The moment he heard her scream, he knew the game was up. He knew that he had lost the upper hand, once and for all. Roger accepted his fate, much as he'd done all his life. He soon discovered that living in jail was not so very different from living with Louise. At least he was living, which is more than either Louise or Jenny could say for themselves. It's one thing to lose the upper hand. It's quite another to lose your hands altogether. So, until we meet again, this is Anthony Quayle reminding you that there is a touch of evil in all of us. Good night. Pleasant dreams.